Trading the foreign exchange market carries high risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Trading on margin, utilizing leverage can carry an even higher level of risk that can lead to a complete loss of investment funds. So before deciding to trade the foreign exchange market or using any of our software alert products, you should carefully and diligently consider your personal investment objectives, level of experience, and risk tolerance. There is a possibility that you could potentially sustain significant loss. You should not invest any capital or trade that you cannot afford to lose. It is your responsibility to be aware of and understand all risks associated with foreign exchange trading and to seek professional advice from an independent certified financial advisor if you have any doubts. Auvoria Prime does not exercise trading authority over your trades. You and you alone exercise discretionary trading authority over every trade.
Welcome everybody to the call. My name is Tyler McKechnie. If you do not know me, I'm glad you are here with us. I'm your advisor of financial tech products here in Auvoria Prime and also one of the developers of the GearBox software. We are hosting this call over the next 4 weeks to help people that have been looking to transition to GearBox. We know there's been a huge influx of people that have been requesting, how can I get on GearBox? Is there a way if I was using an old software that GearBox could possibly pick up my trades and manage them so that I can switch? We've had a lot of these questions and we've worked very hard to actually get the GearBox software to a point where it is currently able to pick up Einstein and Alexander trades. Now, we have a special guest on the call, Mr. Bobby Shalane, out in Australia, and Bobby's been really leading a lot of this movement. And, it's been so awesome to hear from him and what has been going down in Australia. And I know that the Australian market especially has brought a lot of popularity recently to GearBox. There's a lot of eyes on it. And, Bobby asked, hey, can we start hosting calls at a time that's great for Australia too? And I said, Saturday at 7 p.m. Let's do it for the next 4 weeks so that we can accommodate everybody that's looking to really get on board with the GearBox strategy. But Bobby, I want you to take a minute or two and intro. I know there's a lot of people from Australia and on your team here on this call. So I want to be able to have you speak to them before we get into everything and get into some more details. Are you on the line with us here, Bobby?
Yes, I'm online and I'm trying to turn on my video. I'm not sure if I can.
It's not letting you. Hold on, let me see what I got to do. I'm gonna make you a co-host, and then you should be able to.
Tyler, fantastic. Can you see me?
I can see you.
Awesome. Great to see you, buddy. And I appreciate this precious time of yours. And welcome, everybody. Welcome, Australia. Good morning, good day, good evening, people from the rest of the world. And really a late evening for Tyler McKechnie now. I know I requested him. It was a very short time because we are going in midst of so many interesting experience here in Australia. At the same time, we are super pumped and excited to, adapt and start using GearBox and enjoy the benefit it has. And of course, I remember my conversation to you yesterday. Hey, Tyler, I only have a few hours. I want to host this call and I need your help. So let's do it. And Tyler, for everybody, he's a fantastic human being. I wanted to ask him if his calendar is clear for this time, Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern, where he's located in the USA, a Sunday morning for us, 11 a.m. He says calendars are full regardless, whatever, will make it happen for Australia. So we appreciate him and his precious time and his heart for Australia. We definitely want to make the most of this call. But brother Tyler, we appreciate so much your special time, and we can't wait to get insight about GearBox. And also those of you who got an email and register yourself, Tyler has made a commitment that this call is going to be 4 times at least every Sunday, 11 a.m. for us, including this one. So another 3 more until April the 3rd. Those of you who have registered the email, this call will be recorded, and some exciting announcement he just made. So don't get into confusion. Please do send us a Q&A so we can answer those questions and take as many questions as possible. So I believe this call will be just showing you how to connect to GearBox first, and then we'll be answering some of the interesting, important questions you may have. But with once again, everybody, stay tuned, take all your notes. This is going to be a high value call for you all. And of course, I will hand it back to Mr. Tyler to take us through, walk us through how we can, connect account, or if you want, Tyler, I have one account that we can connect, or if you want, I can switch you to remote access so that you can connect an account just for a baby's point of view perspective. Okay, this is how you go into MT4, which is there, and then
I got it all pulled up here, and we'll walk through it from, I'll X out everything, and we'll go through it from start to finish. That's not a problem.
Awesome. So thank you once again so much, Mr. Tyler, and the call is back to you. Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you so much, Bobby. So to get into it with everybody, let me go ahead and share my screen. And the first thing I just want to show everyone is that GearBox now can pick up Einstein and Alexander trades. So as you can see, if you've ever opened the comments of trades, every software, if you were to right click here in your trade history or your account history and go to comments, every trade has a comment attached to it. And you can see Einstein's or Alexander, whatever version you were coming from, or US or international version, had sell trend or sell counter, all capitals. And here's GearBox continuing the sequence, as you can see. So USD JPY level 6, and here's GearBox continuing on that sequence. So what's really powerful about this is if maybe you are still in drawdown or had an open trade on a pair, but you're wanting to switch softwares, GearBox has the ability to run just like Alexander and Einstein if you were to use instant entry. Now, you don't even have to do that. The exciting part about this is you can connect your account to GearBox and use one of our precision modes. It'll continue to run the open trades you had based on the Einstein-Alexander strategy, but once they close, it'll only take new trades in the precision mode. So essentially, you're allowing yourself to complete your sequence, but then start trading with the precise modes that GearBox has. Now, I want to keep things really short and easy to understand in bite sizes. So what makes GearBox special, right? Maybe you're still on this call and you're still unfamiliar about what GearBox is. GearBox originated from the same strategy that many of you are familiar with. But, I had this brain idea about a year ago, and I said, I looked at drawdown I had on an Einstein account, and I said, what if I could just skip that drawdown? Like, what if I could just skip the first 138 pips of a move, right? Or even 207 pips, depending what pair you're trading. There's some pairs I don't even enter until 426 or 600 pips goes by. But, I said, what if I could just skip this drawdown? What if I could just skip these trades and only enter these trades? And what I'm going to show you guys here is, let me go to another VPS. Here's a GearBox running. This is a $700 account, and it's right now in about $35 drawdown. But look at the comment: level 4, level 5, level 6, level 4, level 4. So on these currency pairs, I was literally skipping level 0, 1, 2, and 3. I was skipping 4 trades that would have been in drawdown prior to these that do not exist on my account, by simply just allowing it to really only take those precise entries. So to make it simple and short, imagine looking at your account and a lot of those negative trades you see, imagine not seeing them. Like, imagine literally 60, 70% of them being gone and only seeing the other 30% that were close to being profitable. And that's really what we built with the GearBox strategy. Now I'm going to open it up for Q&A soon, but first I just want to show you how to go ahead and set it up to manage say your trades if you were switching from another product. So I'm actually going to go ahead and just completely close down of all of this. I'm actually even going to remove my account. You don't need to remove your account because you would just switch your tool. So your account should already be logged in. So we don't even need to go that far, right? All we're going to do is we're just going to exit out of everything, close all these charts. All right, you just logged in your account. And you're saying, maybe what currency pairs do I run? How do I set this whole GearBox thing up? First thing we're going to do is we're going to go to hide all. Now you're going to see it's going to keep the pairs open that I have open down here. But then we're going to actually go open this chart. Now, these are all the pairs that GearBox could run. All right. The keyword there is could. So what I've done is I've highlighted the best performing pairs in green, the worst performing pairs in yellow, and then the ones in white are also good performers, but they're not the best performing and they're not the worst performing. So what you could do here is you can decide which ones you want to run, but let's just run all the ones besides the worst performing, right? So we're going to go through and we're just going to type all these. So I'm going to go ahead and pull my screen over here. And again, you don't have to run all of them, but it's wiser too, because the way GearBox trades is it's a very conservative strategy. So we're just going to go ahead and type in all the pairs that are, you know, decent performers. Now, keep in mind, even if a pair is listed as a worse performer here, but you have an open trade on it, you should still open it. So in my case, you see USD JPY is yellow. It's a worse performer. I'm still going to go ahead and open it, right? So, you know, because I have an open trade on it. And same would go for yourself if you have an open trade on a pair that is not suggested here. So you're just going to go through and type all of these, you know, super simple process. And then once you have all of your pairs typed, the setup process becomes super easy in comparison to some other products you've maybe used, because we created this thing called a GearBox manager, and you're going to get to see exactly what that is in a second. And it just makes setting up GearBox an absolute breeze, because you got to think this is a lot of currency pairs. These all have different settings. What do these settings even mean? Well, let me simplify it for you, right? We have these different modes that are pre-programmed, and you can choose on which mode you want to use based on how many trades you're really looking to see. So swing entry is going to get the most trades of the precision modes. Then you're going to have sniper entry, which is really ideal, but it doesn't take that many trades. And then super sniper is designed for an ultra conservative user or a tiny account balance, such as under $500. Now, I'm not telling you that this product is going to be profitable with under $500 or even $500, but I'm telling you it can work with proper risk management, which a lot of softwares also cannot work on small balances. So we're just going to go ahead and chart all these windows. Super simple process. We right click each currency pair after we typed them all in, and we're just literally charting each and every single one of these. Now you may say, well, that's a lot of currency pairs. And again, it's very needed with GearBox because again, you're really only taking very precise trades. GearBox doesn't trade to trade when using precision modes. It trades because there is a trade. But again, the results speak for themselves when you're going to have a much more minimal drawdown during trending markets, as well as a higher profitability in all market conditions. And then each chart, depending on your risk level. Now, when I say risk level, again, this also goes in the amount of trades you're wanting to see. The most accurate trades are always going to be on the daily time frame. Now, if you're looking to receive more trades and you have a little more risk in you, you could use the 4-hour or the 1-hour charts, as it's more likely to open trades both directions, sometimes playing both sides of the market with different hedging techniques on the lower time frames. Whereas the daily is typically always going to look on the larger overall trend to see what kind of success it can have. But you're just going to get set up just like this. And then once all of these are on the daily, it's going to be super simple for you, because all we're going to do is we're going to open one more chart, and I'm going to show you the last step. And then you're set up. You're like, wait, you open these charts and then you're set up, and yeah, it's just like that. I'm going to show you right now. So the last piece of the puzzle is once all your charts are on the correct time frame that you want to go ahead and use, you're going to type in gold here. We do not run GearBox on gold, but we run the GearBox manager on gold. So you might ask, what's the GearBox manager? And this is the most powerful tool there is. So you're going to come into the GearBox manager. You're going to go to the common section, make sure this box is checked, make sure this box is checked, and definitely make sure this box is checked. Make sure all the boxes I have here are checked. You're going to hit OK. Now, once you're in the GearBox manager, this is super powerful. So we're really just talking about precision modes here. The reason for that is intraday modes. Instant entry is Einstein with what's known as high volatility settings. Now you might be asking, what are high volatility settings? Let me, these are what are high volatility settings. So this is an account I've been running for over a year on Einstein. you can see it was doing great, and Euro JPY and USD JPY, it took some hits, right? But I know there's some people that had different experiences where maybe they lost some money. I didn't even hit 18% drawdown. Yeah, I took some losses and stop losses, but my account's intact. So that's what's pre-programmed into instant entry, is these high volatility settings that this account has ran on. There's some pairs that do great. The one thing I can tell you is I believe I'm removing UJ from any strategy I trade, especially this one. I'd still like EJ. I still like EU. Two others I really like for the instant entry or Einstein strategy, as you would call it. I like NZD CHF and USD CAD as well. They've done well. And I'm going to show you where I got that data from actually real quick. This is, off topic, more in regards to Einstein, but again, you can run GearBox identical. This is I want to show you guys. All these losses were from GBP USD. I heard there were some people running GBP USD and Einstein, and I don't know why. It does not, it's never worked. Let me just show you what I mean. This is Einstein, GBP USD 400 pip stop losses. All the losses on this were GBP USD. NZD CHF and USD CAD did great. So the point in showing you this is these are also two great pairs that respect the instant entry strategy. I would say remove UJ, but that was just to talk real quick back on the Einstein education, because I think it's important again for people to understand some of that. And now once you've got all that set up, you're going to choose on precision mode, because again, precision modes equal less drawdown because you're skipping the drawdown. All these white blocks, these are negative trades you would have been in, and these are positive entries you're taking. That is the most powerful thing I could ever tell you in the world when it comes to trading, is taking very minimal trades and seeing higher profit. So again, in this case, on this account here, I'm going to go ahead and just set everything on sniper. I like sniper. Maybe you want to see more trades. You might choose swing again. But before we even do that, there's two things you need to change. First, in the inputs of the manager, your lot size. All right, depending on how conservative you are, the rule of thumb is 0.01 per 1K is normal. 0.01 per 2,000 is going to be, pretty conservative. And then super conservative is going to be 0.01 per 3,000. In this case, this is a decently conservative account. I think I'll go with 0.01 per 2,000. This is about a $15,000 balance because it's in euros. Let's say 14,000. Let's divide by 2. So 0.07 starting lot size. And then you have to decide how many max pairs you want trading at the same time. So you see, we're scanning all these currency pairs for entries. But how many of them, if an entry arises, do you want to allow to take a trade at the same time? And the conservative answer is 3. If you are using less than $1,000, I would say 2. If you're using less than 500, I'd say 1. But 3 is pretty normal. Some aggressive or moderate users might do 4, 5, or even up to 6. But I would never, ever, ever trade more than 6 max pairs, and that is still risky. But conservative, you know the rules. And then all you're going to do from there is you also have to decide which take profit you want to use. Now, in short, ghost plus real trades is typically going to go for the most. There are times where real trades double TP could go for the most, but most of the time it's less than ghost plus real. And real trades only is going to get you just in and out of trades. Real trades only is essentially 30 pips from first entry. Real trades double TP starts at 60 pips. And ghost plus real, the easiest way I can explain this is, imagine if you were using Einstein and let's say you take a gear 4 trade. It's going to base the take profit for this trade based on if you were in the drawdown of all of these trades. But if you use real trades only, it's just going to go for 30 pips as if you were never in any of these trades. If you use real trades double TP, it's going to go from 60 pips from whatever your first entry is. And then when it cost averages, sometimes ghost plus real can actually become the more conservative option. Sometimes double TP goes for more pips if the trade goes against you. So just things to know. But essentially, most people would use real trades double TP or ghost plus real. Real trades only is very conservative. You know, you're playing a solid strategy here with these two. So I use ghost plus real typically myself. And then you have some risk management features. Notifications of drawdown, 10% and 20%. Balance protection. This does not close out trades. The reason this is such a cool feature is something you guys just experienced. What happens is when you hit 25% drawdown, the software will not open a new trade. It will manage your trades, but it will not deploy another trade into the market. And you can change this number. You can customize this to what you like. But my thought process is that if you don't take another trade, if you ever hit 25% drawdown, your chances of blowing that account are going to be much more unlikely because you're really just waiting out the storm instead of deploying more contracts that could go negative against you in a black swan event, a flash crash, a major trend. This is such a safety feature. And you know, it's one of my favorite because I've never been a big fan of just closing out all the trades. I like this because it holds but doesn't take. So really cool. But all you have to do after that is those are the main things you have to decide. All right. So your max pairs trading at the same time, your lot size, and then your take profit. And then you're just going to hit OK. And then once you do that, you're going to choose your strategy. I'm going to hit sniper. Boom. What it's going to do now is it's going to apply GearBox to every chart. And now you're set up. GearBox is trading. And voila. Now what's cool is it'll continue to manage these open trades. But you can see I had max pair set as 3. So I have 2 open. So if a sniper trade happens on one of these pairs, it's still going to take that trade while also finishing these sequences that I'm in from Einstein on my account here. So I hope that addresses you know, the first half, and I see we have some questions and some Q&A and comments. So, you know, Bobby, if we want to work together and tag team these, I'd love to get into the comments section and, you know, see how I can best serve everyone.
Awesome, Tyler. Do you mind we jump into settings for a minute again for a few queries people have because they have opened the account, they're experiencing it, and some of our colleague from UK are using some of the strategy. So
Yeah,
if we
absolutely.
go back into the setting regarding just understanding lot size point of view and
Yeah.
different strategy and how to expect the trade. So yeah, perfect. So let's say you just calculated 1 cent on every 2,000, and I've just realized that this is what most people choose as favorite. You know, just to be on the conservative side on a sniper strategy. And I know Dante is his favorite is on every 2,000 1 cent. He goes for swing. Now I see most people, as I say, sniper is a favorite one. So do you recommend it's better to have strategy for the lot size on every 2,000 1 cent? Let's say it's a 10,000 account 5 cent, 20,000 account 10 cents lot
if
size.
you were using a swing strategy, I would say 0.01 per 2K is okay. It's conservative. It's great. It's going to do well. It's going to have low drawdown. And I'll show you an account I even ran at 0.01 per. Let me find so many here. Trying to find which one I'm trying to show you guys real quick. Problem when you got too many MyFX books, right? Let's scroll through right here. Actually, this was it. So I'm actually running a 0.01 per 10,000 here. This account has been running since August. I was running it really, really conservatively, actually all through August. This was actually at 0.01 per 3,000. And then I raised it right here to 0.01 per 1,000. And you can see, you know, obviously the results stepped up. The drawdown was minimal here, but it was making great profit, right? It did great actually that first month. It still did like 5% with virtually no drawdown. But then, you know, I ramped it up a little bit more here. And you can see it had its highest drawdown when things were trending. But the cool thing you can see is it even hit stop losses and made it all back. This is really powerful. This is something I love to touch. It's because not many EAs can hit a stop loss or two and then swing and make it all back. You know, same month, right? And the same month it made back this entire loss and more. So really, really powerful when you can do that. And you can see though, since August, this account's only taken 151 trades. So I told you GearBox is super conservative. It doesn't take a lot of trades, but you can see it's won 84% of them and it's caught 6,000 positive pips. Its average win's been 65 pips. It's had some 75 pip losses. What I will tell you is when you study some sniper FX books and some swing FX books, you'll notice that swing still sometimes has a higher average loss than average win, where sniper often will have a higher average win than average loss just because it's weighting that extra level, which could be all the difference in an extra trade, right? In a large amount of pips. But the profit factor is still good. A big thing I look for is profit factors being over 2. When EAs have profit factors under 2, it tends to scare me away from them. And if you're brand new to this, this is what profit factor means. It shows you how many times the gross profit, meaning the sum of all winning trades, exceeds the gross loss, which is the sum of all losing trades. The higher the value, the better. So with any trading system, I look for a high profit factor. Anything under 2 is said to eventually blow an account. That's just straight from the system's mouth. And that was always, why I said, okay, the strategy is great, but how can we make it better? And that's what we did with GearBoxes. We just said, let's continue to make it better. So some people I saw in the comments were asking questions about, let's just get through some questions here because I can probably answer some of these by showing settings, showing things. So I love getting into Q&A because it's super educational. Somebody said, how are you want to read them, Bobby, or?
Yeah, so I'll go one by one few questions I have. So to conclude with sniper strategy, is it okay to have 1 cent lot size on every 1,000? Or
absolutely. Just, if you're doing anything more than 3 max pairs trading at the same time, I would decrease that. I'll show you why. Because if a trend happens, a trend still happens. Am I logged in? Okay. GearBox. So this account, oops, why did it take me there? So this account, you can see, got a 39% drawdown now recently in this last 2 weeks. It swung back both times, but these have been CHF pairs and CAD pairs. They've been going on a bull run themselves, which I actually recently just raised the entry in GearBox. So this manager you see, oftentimes when I look at data, I'll increase the entries. So like AUD CHF, I actually just bumped it up by 2 entries because I saw that CHF pairs are starting to trend a lot more. I said, okay, let's wait for a much more precise entry if we're even going to get into those trades, right? And so I'm constantly also adapting and optimizing the software to current market conditions through the manager to where you don't have to change all the settings. I just update that manager and you re-hit the button and all the settings update with the new entries if we ever, increase them or see market conditions are changing, or even maybe we get back into a consolidated market and we lower some, right? There's things that I can constantly do with that manager and we can adapt and work together, which is really cool. But the reason for not trading 6 at the same time is, if something trends, it still trends. But the great thing about GearBox is, look at this. The last 2 weeks, you've seen the markets, but this thing handling 6 pairs at the same time, this was the result, and it made money from it. It also took a loss, made it back, and more. So awesome. Super powerful, to just kind of show, and you can see this account as well. 194 trades running 6 pairs. The previous account was on swing running 3 pairs and did 151. So that tells you if this thing was only running 3 pairs, it would have only taken about 100 trades in Sniper. In how many months? Since June? So I want you to think about that. It doesn't take a lot of trades, but the trades it typically does take are highly accurate and profitable, which is very powerful. And if something goes crazy in the market, GearBox can much better handle trending market conditions, as most of the time it won't even get in the trade. There's many things inside GearBox to continue to adapt and prevent situations. But you can see here as well, this account has a higher average win than average loss, even with 6 pairs running, and it's caught over 7,000 profitable pips, almost 8,000 with a high profit factor. Sniper has a little bit higher profit factor, as you can see. So, you know, some different things there, but okay, let's keep running through some questions.
And also, while we are on the settings, now with the take profit, so of course, with the Ghost plus profit trades, double P profit, and the real trades. So
Yes.
I assume when it goes into with the gearbox, the weight function is, of course, it goes for a 3 or 4 confirmation based on different currency pairs. Um, I assume if it's going for so much of confirmation and accuracy, why not we pick up? I know you mentioned it's 30 pips, 60 and 90. 30 will take the profit immediately. And some people like it. I want to book my profit fast. And then you mentioned, okay, let's say, AUD USD, a pair, which was having a drawdown and is better off to have a double profit. So it will try to remove your drawdown, also try to average those all trades and book a profit for you, or Ghost plus trade. So if it's going for a 3 or 4 confirmation based for all the pairs, and is it not good to have Ghost trades plus profit trades? A longer profit.
Ghost plus real is my favorite personally, because if I just see it's in profit and I want to close it manually, I can. There's times where I look at my account and I'm just in floating profit, and I'll just say, yeah, I'm 15 pips from take profit. I don't care. I just close it because you're like 3% floating profit on your account. You're like, yeah, I'll take it. I'm out. And that's my feeling on, Ghost plus real. I like it because it gives you that extra opportunity. Now, what's really cool is you can also change it mid-trade. So if you actually want your TPs to change, if you actually change this, it'll actually update the take profits in all your open trades as well. So you could even use real trades double TP, and maybe you're a trader and you look at the chart and you go, man, I think this thing's going to run even more. You could just go put Ghost plus real, right? Or same thing. Maybe you're on real trades only and you're like, oh, I think this thing's gonna go more. You can go to real trades double TP. So you can update those mid trade and update on all of the open trades, which is another cool feature. So, but for me, I'm a big fan of Ghost plus real. It's personally my favorite. I have a lot of people that love real trades double TP though. They swear by it. It's all personal preference. And so, it depends who you are. If I'll put it to you this way, typically I'm going to tell somebody, if you're going to look at your account more, use Ghost plus real. If you're somebody who's probably not going to look at it as often, typically real trades double TP is going to be, the more, as somebody would say, hands-off setting, right? Nothing's hands-free, but, less looking at it, because Ghost plus real, there's going to be times where, like I told you, you might just go close it because it's just for 3 days, like 10 pips from take profit. And you're like, all right, I'm over this trade. Just get me out of it. And that's how Ghost plus real is.
Yeah, that's why my personal favorite is real plus double profit with a sniper on a 1 cent, 1,000 account and max 3 pairs. So I like to keep it that way because I want to less intervene in this. Once a week, we just do the updates. And now with the functionality of Gearbox, I've realized the way Einstein was from the word go, starts picking up the trade and tries to manage that. And whereas Gearbox, I may be wrong or right, you may correct me, Gearbox first manages all the trade at the ghost, finds out, gets the confirmation, and then opens the trade. It's more safer that way, I believe. Now, then new people, what do they expect when they start using Gearbox fresh, getting their account? What to expect? Because sometimes they wait and watch what is happening with my trade. And do I touch something? Am I going to get an electric current or something? What's going to happen? So in my understanding, of course, you open a 22, 24 pairs, whatever, and then all the gears gonna get activated. And by the time 3 or 4 confirmation come, so you may see your first week would be quite slow until all the gears are getting activated on all your pairs. And then moving to the next week or so, you will see more frequency on picking up the trades. And this is how it's going to be. And then I reached out to some of the experts to know that well, my account is working or not. And I know you pulled the right a button that you touch expert to see if your trades are on and the Gearbox is functioning. Is that the one feature we should do just before the journal? Yeah.
Yeah, the main thing you're going to always want to do is just make sure that, once the market's opened, that you see it starting to take ghost trades here. So right now the market's closed, so you don't see any ghost trades getting taken. But if I was to scroll back in time here, I'll show you what it looks like somewhere. There we go. It would look just like that. It would say modifying a ghost trades. And this means that it's trading. Now, the other thing you're obviously always going to want to make sure of is that you also have all your boxes checked, right? Because it can take ghost trades even if you have live trading off. And what'll happen is someone will be like, my software didn't take a trade, and I'll go look in their journal, and there were multiple times it went to take a trade, but they just didn't have a lot of live trading on. So make sure you have a live trading turned on. That's just, I always want to make sure I re-drill this in. It's always this little box right here, right here. This is the box.
Awesome. And also, when people, they want to make sure it's confirmed when they put on a GearBox manager and use a strategy, let's say sniper we're talking about, and they want to open a currency pair to check the settings are on, does it show trading? And I've read somewhere it says don't hit OK if you're just testing and checking on your setting, just go on across, otherwise it will reset everything for you.
Yeah. So let me show you what I mean by that. So once you've hit your strategy here on the manager, you're going to hit this button right here, arrange windows. You're going to hit it, and it's going to pull up all your currency pairs, and you're going to be able to go open your gear boxes here. You're going to want to just see that you have the smiley face right here in the corner. Make sure this is a smiley. If that's a smiley, that's a good thing. And then from there, you can just go ahead and go inside here and make sure that, it applied strategies for the pair you're running. So if we were to take a look here, we applied sniper and we did USD CAD. And if I go over here to USD CAD, you can see that USD CAD says sniper enters on a gear 3. So this says only gears above 2. Meaning it's only going to enter gears above 2, which means it's going to enter on gear 3. And then after Wednesday, it automatically raises to gears above 3 because there's more volatility on Thursday and Friday. So wait for a more precise entry. Great strategy. Now, that's really simple there. And you would just be able to check those if you want to check them. It's a good thing to check. You don't always need to. GearBox Manager is very accurate and, high speed these days. So, when we first came out with the manager, there were times where sometimes it didn't always put all the right settings. But, it's been about 3 months since then. And this thing works like a charm now. So always awesome. Good to check, but you don't need to worry about that.
So one more question before we start taking and have a look to everybody's a lot of long list of chats and Q&As there. So one more now, a few questions people ask. Let's say with the GearBox sniper, we see it takes, for first or second week to get all the gears activated and get this engine heated up to start showing you trades. Is it possible, let's say, just for, people having experience, they open up an intraday trade strategy for their first week and they switch it back to the next week on sniper? Is it a recommendation?
Intraday is just Einstein, right? So, if you want to run it like Einstein, you would only run it on 3 currency pairs. You wouldn't run it on all the currency pairs. And I don't think many of you want to continue to run it that way. You can. I'm going to continue to educate people on it and run a call supporting it every Thursday. But the key thing is I really would lean anyone towards precision mode. The reason why is it's not the best traders in the world know when not to trade. No one should be in the market 24/7, right? Or 24/5 in Forex case. You shouldn't always be in the market. And the great thing about GearBox is it's not always in the market. Yeah, there's going to be some weeks where you get in drawdown, you hold trades for a week or two. But most of the time, GearBox is really in and out of trades, which means that, you are not in as much exposure to the markets. The less exposure you can have from the markets while pulling profit from it, the better. And that's really my thing. But yes, absolutely. If you want to use intraday mode and instant entry, you can. Just remember, it's only for 3 pairs. It's not for all the pairs, right? That's only precision modes. Instant entry, you would just stick to 3.
Yeah, simple answer to that is just start with sniper. Don't confuse yourself.
Precision, right?
The best way it can to give you a fantastic results. Now, also before I go, we take again chats, and I know everybody's waiting on their questions to be answered. One more important thing. Now, how people should look after this tool for them. I mean, is it a set and forget? Okay, they park their funds as if it's in a fixed deposit, apply the gearbox and forget, or is it a daily? They have to put some attention to it, or a weekly, or a monthly, or something a weekly, just to update strategy or update VPS or reboot VPS. What is the best way to maintain or make sure everything goes good?
Absolutely. So weekly, the best thing you can do is simply log into your VPS and just reapply your strategy. Just make a habit of logging into your VPS and just rechecking to make sure everything's good. All your charts are open. Just make sure any of your currency pairs that you're running, they're here, they're open. Just double check everything. Every week, just come and make sure it looks the same. If you got to take a screenshot of it, like right now, just take a screenshot, come back the next week, make sure all the same currency pairs are there, right? All the things are open. If you don't see GearBox on a chart, it's really simple. Just come to the manager, and the easiest thing you can do every single week is just select your strategy again, just hit the button. And that way, if there's any updates that were pushed, any entries changed, anything like that, you're just applying the freshest data every week. So that would be my my best advice to somebody is just come make sure your gearbox is just correct every week and set up properly. You know, that you're tuning into the once a week developer call for the strategy you're using. If you're using precision modes, those calls are Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern. If that's in the middle of the night for you, the recording's there immediately, get in it. If not, you'll get cliff notes anyways sent out. So, you know, things are always rocking and rolling.
Awesome, super easy, super awesome. I mean, just once a week, and I presume, like for us, this is Sunday, this is Saturday for you, probably 7-8 p.m. now Eastern. So, is it recommended by this Sunday? Like, you know, people should have a habit of, because maybe you're pushing some updates after the markets are closed at your end, and assuming now what the time is Saturday, or this would be a great time, or entire Sunday whenever they can do it. Is it recommended?
This I would say is the best time every week for you guys to hop on and ask questions and bring your team in to best understand what is going on with this transition and the ability for people to get their trades managed. And, you know, I see there's a lot of Q&A questions about the management of trade. So I'm excited to get into all of these so that, you know, we can really just give you guys the assurance you need and get your questions answered. Because I know people down there, you guys have a lot of questions. You are using a product and, you know, maybe there wasn't the best education around it, you know, but I can tell you that all the products you're going to continue to see from Auvoria Prime have some of the best education developers and, you know, up-to-date information every single week for you to plug into so that you can take control of your wealth and really understand what these products are all about, right? Because there's no point in just trusting a system blindly when you can come actually learn about the system. Because when you learn the system, you actually see how powerful it can be. That a lot of times people just want to hope something works for them, but there's so many things that go into a working system, right? Like that's why I call it gearbox, because there's gears, they turn just like a car. There's so many things that make that system work, but cars break down, right? Things break down. So you want to make sure that, you know, you're keeping up with the maintenance. What's the maintenance? Tune in once a week. So keep up with your maintenance and you'll see success with the products.
That makes so much sense. And now with the dynamics here in Australia, because I know most people question is coming from that perspective, that point of view, with the regulations in Australia, in 2 weeks time, the leverage here changes from 1 to 400 is now going to be 1:30. Now,
Advice.
Yeah.
My best advice is I'm going to tell you the same advice I had to tell myself as a US citizen. The US brokers that are regulated by the USA, they only allow 1 in 30 and they don't allow hedging. And they have these weird rules called first in, first out. Me, I'm not trading under those rules. So it's up to you. There's plenty of brokers that will accept your business and offer you higher leverage and allow hedging. So you have to decide, hey, because GearBox isn't going to work on 1 in 30 leverage and be ideal. The only product in our marketplace that could work on 1 in 30 leverage is Neo the Legend. And you know, for many of you, I'll tell you the same thing. I'm a US citizen, and US brokers, there's only 2 of them that are regulated by the US. And both of them, one's been fine for manipulating accounts, and the other one, you can look at their feed and see that there's weird spikes and things. So for me, it doesn't matter, right? I choose to use offshore brokers that have A-book feeds. So the best thing I can tell you is find a good broker with an A-book feed that'll offer you higher leverage, accept your business. If you want to continue to use any of the other products that exist in our marketplace that won't work on 1 in 30 leverage. So, that'd be my best advice. Now, I can't recommend any. I'm just going to tell you there's plenty out there. They will take your business. If I was you, I would look for one.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. We're switching to offshore broker here, and then so some of them who are on Einstein now will be opening up. Let's say, for example, I use Multibank, and of course they do have a business in Australia. They are a big broker worldwide. So I personally do that, and people can, of course, do their best due diligence to find out. Now, that's what our plan is. Use one more tool, a GearBox, and of course Neo for the Australian brokers. Now, you just mentioned, or you just made a great, exciting announcement that GearBox will now take care of your Einstein account. When you switch it, it will work. For us, Catch 22 situation here is in 2 weeks' time, we are running out of leverage issue, and there's a drawdown on Einstein right now with what USD JPY did mess last week. So now people are into a situation that this drawdown, can they now switch to with their existing account, because they have to make sure they take a call in 2 weeks' time, because GearBox is not going to work on 1:30 leverage. So they have to make a call what they're going to do with these two accounts. And of course, meanwhile, who are not in that situation, they are opening their GearBox with the broker. I'm also doing it. And then, of course, with Australian brokers, they can still enjoy benefits of Neo. So what will happen within this 2 weeks? I know this GearBox calls are going to happen for the next 3 weeks also, for people to understand, and we will be answering and let people experience. And if they have more as they go, they will be finding out more questions they needed to answer with. So next 3 weeks, there will be a lot of education learning. And I love about this company, this great education tool, learning tool, and it's provided on your back office and at AP Academy. And then I appreciate that Telegram channels you run, and up-to-date information is always there for any individual to learn and educate themselves, so they enjoy the best of these products. So yes, now with this, because I'm not sure you're aware of what dynamics are here in Australia with the leverage issue and with the high drawdown of some of the accounts, unfortunately. So what can be done in that scenario? How then, people take their account within the next 2 weeks?
I don't know how the broker handles a situation like that. Does the broker just lower everyone's leverage on that day and all the trades get margin called? I don't know. You're going to have to reach out to the broker, and I would ask them to have mercy on you until you can get out of some trade. I don't know.
So update, I missed this update on you. Yeah, so broker already updated that your existing trade before 29 March will be on a same leverage. They will be moving people. They have a certain criteria, categories, if you can qualify on a pro account, or there are certain which they can enjoy having 1:4. Most people may not be qualifying, but some of course. Now, the existing trade that were picked up before 29 March can enjoy 1:400 leverage, but anything new picking up on 29 March, 1:30, it will be. So, a GearBox or Einstein trying to average those, I don't know, people will be getting margin calls. So something people have to do within the 2 weeks time and manage something to cut their S loss.
The good thing is about GearBox is it still has the balance protection mode built in, but I do agree, even, they need to be making a transition of some sort to even continue to use this product. So yeah, I would say that for now, you're going to want to get off of there as soon as possible. That's my best advice, is get out of there. But it's good that they're going to leave those trades on 1:500 leverage, or 1:400, whatever you're using, so that no one's getting margin called from their already existing trades. So that's very nice of them.
Yeah, no, we appreciate that. And as we go, we'll be having, more of interesting questions and we'll take it. But let's jump on to chat and Q&A. We have both platform open for people that put some questions on, and there are heaps. At 39, I can see. Oh my gosh. Now, I may also do something that, get these questions from whole team and probably email you also, because it will be, you take your call, Mr. Tyler, that let me scroll it up. I'm on a chat right now. Okay, some hi hellos and just a quick look. I have 16 scale transaction with 15K drawdown. Okay, how many pairs? How many pairs people want to know would be good? As you mentioned, 22, 24, or probably. I do have a list of for your previous call. I can send those a screenshot of those currency pairs.
Well, so here's the updated list with color coordinations based on the best performing pairs in green, and in yellow are the worst performing pairs. So I'm not going to be running the pairs in yellow anymore on my physical accounts, only on my data accounts. If that makes sense.
Yeah. So worst performing, but still we pick up, they're there. If the confirmation comes, then only they will pick up the trade, correct? Now,
yeah.
And one question Mr. Salvador has written, show us how to remove Einstein and add GearBox to an existing, account we have on MT4 without losing an existing position. Now, one more question is, somebody has raised, the cut to switch your tools was just, we just missed some of them. I sent out the message to as many that please do switch one of the tool on GearBox so that we can start doing it. So most of them has done it. So if you can also take that question, how to remove Einstein or switch from Einstein to GearBox with the existing trade right now going on. Is it a possibility now?
No, they're going to have to wait till their switch tools period next week. I don't think there's a way to do it. If there was a way to do it, and I don't think there is, but that would be a support ticket. But yeah. And there's not a way for you to do it right now. I think the only way that could possibly be possible is a support ticket, since it's still only Saturday, but I don't know, probably not possible.
Tyler?
Yeah, Susan's here.
Hi.
She's probably going to say no. I can hear you.
Excellent. Do you want to show them for the ones that were approved for the switch? Do you want to show them how, so that they've approved to switch tools and they now have access to GearBox? How did they connect to their active trades?
We did that at the beginning of the call.
Oh, you did? Okay. There's some people still asking.
Okay, I know the recording will come out. I mean, it's as simple. I went through an entire setup process. We put all the pairs, did the whole thing.
I missed that part. Sorry. I just see the question.
That's how we started that one out. So we'll have a recording, and there will be many more of these. I don't want to go through another 10-minute setup. I want to get through some other questions here. What else do we have going on? Can you explain how the existing trades will be handled again? Really simple. It's just going to go ahead and manage them based on how you are managing them. It's just going to pick them up and use high volatility settings and continue to apply. So you can see in this case, I had level 6 USD JPY trade open. I applied GearBox and it took the level 7 as needed, and Euro JPY took the level 8 as needed. So, you can see it picked up those trades just like that and kept going on the sequence. GearBox does have stop losses. Sanjay said, how would GearBox have behaved in the same scenario on USD JPY? Well, it depends on which mode you were using. If you're using precision mode, super well, just like it performed on Euro JPY. I'll give you an example, right? Euro JPY, here's how GearBox has performed. My internet's being super slow on me. I don't know why that's going so slow. There we go. So you can see Euro JPY is not even in any drawdown right now. It's doing its thing. It's crushing it. So now I will tell you, I did eliminate UJ from my strategy, as I still consider it a worst performing pair. I'm over UJ, and I'm definitely over AJ and any pairs that are correlated with them. Those are just, I'm not a fan of JPY pairs anymore. I think JPY pairs are best with trending EAs, but with a counter trend or reversal strategy, I just don't think JPY pairs are your friend. But Euro JPY still has performed well and is actually on my list of best performing pairs. If we go back there, here it is. My list of best performing pairs, EJ is there still. But UJ off the list, AJ off the list, NZD, JPY, GBJPY, just not a fan of them. The JPY pairs just tend to trend a lot, and when they trend, they trend. There's no sign of reversals. Will the gear levels be monitored and pushed when the pair is trending more than usual? Satish, what I do when I update the entry levels, so like I just made entry level updates here, where I get that data from is I run a bunch of pairs on one pair. So if we go back to my one pair data, what I do is I look, and I just saw AUDCHF got in 60% drawdown. So what I do is if something hits 25% drawdown, these are all $500 live accounts that are individually running one pair at a time. And what I do is if they ever on a $500 account running one pair hit 25% drawdown, I increase the entry by +1. And these were on swing settings, keep in mind. And they were on the original swing settings. I bumped up many pairs since then, and I'm going to be starting new data accounts on many of the ones I've changed using custom analysts. But AUDCHF, you can see I just bumped up its entries twice because it went in 50% drawdown. So that justified 2 entries up. You know, same thing if we go and look down the list, if we sort by drawdown, NZD JPY, I bumped it up twice. CAD JPY got bumped up twice. CAD CHF, these all got bumped up by +1. And that's where I'd make my determinations on entries. And where I got best performing pairs, you see here, the lowest drawdown on many of these that just crushed it and produced great results. So, you know, this is where I get that data from, is these one pair accounts I've been running, just kind of let them do their thing. And I continue to update my strategies and entries based around the data from those accounts to decide, you know, what makes the most sense based on live forward testing. And then all you have to do is just go in the VPS and hit your button, and it applies any updated entries, which I make notes of any time entries are updated and what pairs. I see. Somebody said then they're using GearBox. Anytime you change a setting, it's going to reset your ghost rates. There's no way to retain that. So the best thing you can do is not change settings midweek. Set your settings at the beginning of the week after the developer call and let it run. The only reason you should change anything is if, you know, a trade's already open on that pair and you needed to make an intervention of some sort, such as allowing another level, changing your balance protection, things along those lines. But you should not make changes to lot size midweek and things like that. Just set it and, you know, be content with your strategy. And yes, a VPS reboot will typically remove ghost trades. Sometimes it won't on the weekends, you know, but there's a setting by default in the software that deletes ghost trades at the beginning of every week, which is a smart feature because it makes sure you're getting the most precise entries and accurate reads in the market. So it avoids you also getting in a trend that was just a long time, because if it trends 1 week this way and you didn't hit an entry and you clear your ghost trades and it does the same thing again, and then you get the reversal better than if you got in here and then waited again. So just clearing ghost trades beginning of the week, it does that automatically. Einstein takes some hedge trades. Does GearBox do it? If yes. So I think you're asking the wrong question here. People refer to this setting in Einstein that's called trend levels before hedging. This setting is not a hedging setting. GearBox will do the same hedging. What that setting was is your ability to turn on and off what was known as a double trade. And what is a double trade? It's a dual sequence. And I'm sure many of you saw them on your accounts. They do not exist in GearBox, which makes it entirely safer by itself. Because what a double sequence is is maybe you saw on USD JPY, you had a 0.01, a 0.02, 0.03, 0.04, and then guess what? Now there's another sequence that was a 0.01, a 0.02, a 0.03 going the same way, and you're like, why are there two of them? And that's called a double trade, and they do not exist in GearBox. There's no such thing as them. Now GearBox will pick up your current double trades and manage them, but once you close them, you will never see another double trade going the same direction. So when it says 8 max levels, that means 8 max levels, not 16. It means 8, because there's no double trades. But that's what that setting meant in Einstein. It actually wasn't a hedging setting. GearBox has the same exact normal hedging functionality, but that setting you're referring to was your ability to turn on and off double trades. It was just worded very funnily. So if you thought that was hedging, it does not mean that. It means more risk. How to access the Excel sheet showing currency pairs and their gear levels. It is in the GearBox traders chat. So if you go in there, it'll be in your pin post. What is the approach to migrate from Einstein to GearBox? You would switch your tool first inside your back office, and then second, go in your VPS and go through the GearBox setup process. Is that weekly goal 100% for GearBox? Yes. Now, the weekly goal setting does not make the software more aggressive. It doesn't do anything to the software. It's just a feature that if you hit it, it's going to stop trading. Why is it default at 100%? Because most people using GearBox do not want GearBox to stop trading because of its strategy. It's already such a slow trader. You typically just want to let it run. But you do have the ability to use a fixed weekly goal and set it. You also have the ability to use a trailing weekly goal. So you can use either fixed or trailing weekly goal. And, you know, most people just don't use it at all, which is why by default it's at 100 and trailing by 50. But, you know, again, the setting does not mean you're going to make 100% a week. It does not mean the software is going to trade more aggressively to make 100% a week. It is simply just a setting that if it hits it, it's going to stop trading. It does nothing else to the software, the management of the trades. Can you please, does weekly, I see a lot of people asking about weekly goal. Yeah, I'm glad we covered that. Right.
Most question is about how about GearBox hedging? When gonna happen if needed be with the hedging in GearBox?
It will hedge the same way. So like, let me, I don't think it's hedging in this account, but I can maybe find some ghost gear examples. So if we go to symbol, no hedges here. But if we go to symbols, no, that one's not only going one direction. Okay, this one's going both directions. So in the ghost gears, you can see GBP JPY has a sell 3 open. So it has a level 3 sell behind the scenes, and it has a buy 0. So in the ghost server, it is already hedging, right? It's playing both sides of the market. So what does this mean? It means that if the market continues going, you know, up, you're going to end up in a sell trade, and the buys are going to keep resetting. Now, guess what? As the sell starts to come back down, the buys are going to be activating in the ghost server, and right as you go to close out your sell, your buy is going to activate and ride back up. So really powerful. So the way it works with the precision strategies is typically it's playing both sides in the ghost gears, but you're really just playing both sides of the reversal. So you'll ride it up, fall down, and then guess what? You know, now the buy, if it was buying in the ghost server, will now trigger 2, and then you play it right back up. So you're just playing both sides without the risk of the previous trades that would have prior exist right here, right? Right now you would have both buys and sells open. Your sells would be going here, your buys would be making pennies. But guess what? When your sell finally triggers here, and now it starts buying, and then you get that nice buy right here, you're actually making money. So that's kind of how the hedging works, as you can see. So it is hedging. It's playing both sides in the ghost server. It's more likely to hedge on the 1 hour and the 4 hour in the ghost server. I will disclaim that. On the daily charts, it will do it, but much more rare, because the daily is looking for the overall larger trend. Whereas the hour and the 4 hour, the algo is obviously reading different data, which sometimes can suggest both ways. So it's more likely to play both sides. So depending on your time frame will determine, you know, how often you see it hedging more so, if that makes sense.
Yes, awesome, awesome. And I read somebody, Mr. Shati Sekhar, saying, can we get the questions to Bobby and then he can forward the questions to you if we are limited with the time? And
we're not limited with the time. I mean, you know, if you're limited with the time, that's fine, but I'm here all night. You know, let me know how I can help.
Awesome. No, we definitely are, you know, want to go on and on with the questions, of course. A great question. So yeah, let's keep taking the question as much as we can.
Absolutely. Somebody said, can you show the spreadsheet with pips again and explain that? Awesome, awesome. So this is just where you would take your entries again. So, right. So essentially, if you're looking at maybe your trades, maybe you were using Einstein and maybe you're in drawdown right now. And let's say that you're looking and you see you're in a level 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4 trade. Well, imagine if you were only in the 4 trade, right? And that's essentially how you look at GearBox, or essentially if you're only in the 5 trade or the 6 trade, right? You know, but this is the difference in the range between each one. So as you see, the range increases between each level with the settings that are pre-programmed in GearBox, high volatility settings they're known as. And it really waits a long time before getting in some of these later levels, to the point where, you know, there's times where your range is, you're waiting 69 pips, 93 pips, 126 pips before, you know, the next trade, even 170 on some of those GBP pairs and things, you'd be waiting in 600 total pips, right, in one direction. So I want you to think about that. Imagine you're running GBP USD, all right? You're running GBP USD right now. There's people I know that are running GBP USD and Einstein. And we already talked about in the beginning of this call why that's a bad decision and what other pairs are somewhat good for Einstein based on the data I showed. But let's go take a look at GBP USD. We're waiting until gear 5 on swing settings to enter a trade, or gear 6. Okay, I want you to think about that. On GearBox, we're waiting for GBP USD to go 300 pips first, with no retracement before we even take an entry. So imagine the 300 pips of drawdown you're already in before GearBox would have even taken that trade. And that's the beauty of the range and these entries and how it operates. So that's the entry chart again, but let's keep going. I noticed somebody said, I noticed GearBox software is still less than 1.0. Is GearBox still in development beta phase? Should we wait for 1.0 version? I'm going to put it to you this way. GearBox will be at the 1.0 version when I think that I never, ever have to update something for at least 6 months straight without making a change. Right now, I'm be honest with you, it's not in a beta stage. It's not in a development stage, but it is a ever developing product because we have a very active development team. And as you've looked and studied the market conditions, I've been trading for 6 years. The market conditions have ever changed in the past 6 years as I've been trading. I've witnessed full market cycles. And what I can tell you is there's pairs like Euro USD and USD JPY that used to only go 250 pips and retrace. They never used to go on these crazy movements. And in the last year, all of a sudden you'll notice many pairs, their average true range has increased, meaning they've become more volatile. And because of that, I believe that your product should be ever developing, and GearBox is an ever developing product. We have many functionalities we plan to add in the future. I'll give you one example of a amazing feature we're currently working on, and it's probably a ways out, but it's going to be the coolest feature that exists. And this might blow some people's minds, but if you're a trader, I'm gonna talk about this real quick. Let's just go to my effects book and type in correlation, Forex correlation. So check this out. So I'm going to give you an example of something. So many pairs are correlated. What does this mean? It means that they do the same thing. You see AJ's right here. So let's go down to NZD JPY. NZD JPY is 96.2% correlated with AUD JPY. What this means is the chart pretty much looks identical. Now, let's say on GearBox, you were trading both of those pairs, you could essentially end up getting into the same trade opportunity, which could be a great thing if it goes into profit. But if it goes against you, it's like, why are you in two pairs that are going to go the exact same direction and have the same exact outlook? So I'm building into a setting into GearBox, which we're working heavily on, which any pair that's over 75% correlated positively, it will not allow it to open a position going the same direction at the same time. So meaning if NZDJPY went to take a trade and then AJ went to take the same sell position that NZDJPY was in, AJ would get blocked and it would say you can only take a buy. And if it triggers a buy, because the ghost gears allow it, then it'll take it. But it won't allow it to go the same direction. So that's a cool feature that we're working on. You know, and that's what I would say by it's ever developing, because we want it to become the best product ever. And when I get to 1.0, it's literally, I'm not making an update for the next 6 months. So that's what version 1.0 will be. Do we need to wait a week to switch to GearBox if requested? If you requested on Friday, you should already hopefully be good. Is GearBox safer than Einstein? Well, because GearBox and Einstein have a similar base algorithm and strategy, you know, it could be used identical. So I can't say it's safer, but if you use the precision modes and the precision strategies that have been designed and the functionalities that have been designed to make GearBox the product it is, absolutely, it's much, much, much safer. But, you know, again, just like any software, if you go jump your risk or juice up your risk, you know, no one's going to save you but yourself. What? All right. People say, what's the recommended max equity risk in GearBox Manager? Well, you know, that's a great question. Again, I want to cover this because it's an important one. Let's just go ahead and open the manager real quick. So inside the manager, I want to talk about this. The max equity risk is, as you see by default, set at 100%, meaning if you let it blow your account, it could do it. Why is that? Because, you know, first, a lot of people want to be able to make that change on their own. They don't want to have one default on there. I've seen it play out weird where there was a default one and somebody using some drawdown dragged the software on a chart, forgot about the default one, and it closed. Basically, we just leave it at 100. Unless you want to change it, it's at 100. But why? What else have we implemented in here? Is called balance protection mode. And again, balance protection mode is, you can change it, but by default at 25% drawdown, it's going to stop taking any new trades. It will not open a new trade. It will not it literally will just manage your current open trades, but it will not take a new one. And this is such a powerful thing, because my belief is that if you still have 75% of your equity and you do not deploy another trade into the market, that you can withstand flash crashes, black swan events, and you know, not blow an account. Because the markets, again, there's things that they could happen at any time, unpredictable things happen. So, you know, my goal with this feature was to really protect clients' capital, make sure that customers that are using this software are able to have a lot of success without ever, you know, having that day where they're like, where did all my money go, right? That's so far, we've been running this thing through major market cycles where I've seen tons of products fail, and GearBox is, you know, taking volatility like a champion, and we're ever advancing it to handle volatility more and more by eliminating unnecessary pairs, by increasing entries on pairs that we still see are good, but maybe, you know, they have a higher probability against some DD. So let's just raise up our precision entry on them. And I'm going to keep reading.
And Tyler, also on that, sorry, that is a super awesome feature. I personally love it. And on the same note, this gentleman, Rupesh Dubey, asked, if a drawdown is on 25%, of course, it will not pick up a new trade. It will try to manage that. And while managing that trade also goes on a higher drawdown, let's say 30, 35. So the drawdown can still increase, but all it will do is try to manage it, correct?
Correct. It will manage it, but it will not open any new trades to cost average. So it's really just essentially saying, just wait, play the patience game. Just chill out. Let's see what happens, because, you know, the worst mistake I've ever made as a trader myself, even manually trading, is I think there's no way this thing can go any further, right? And I start taking some trades, and sure enough, it goes further. And basically GearBox here is just taking itself out and saying, chill, just chill out. Let's just wait it out and see what happens. And by doing this, you really are just giving yourself that buffer that you need to be able to survive whatever happens. Now, some people might argue, well, if I took the next trade, I could have gotten out of the drawdown sooner. And absolutely, you're right. But if it continues to go against you, you can also lose all your equity. So you have to decide which one's better, right? For me, I'd rather play the waiting game and get stuck in some drawdown a little longer than, potentially end up in a higher drawdown in a longer trending move where, now I need to put a way larger lot to get out. Whereas if you don't deploy any lots, and let's say the market just goes crazy, well, you could go deploy a lot size down there and make up for it, right? But you don't have all these other ones in between that, are holding you back. So it's just a safety thing. It's just saying, hey, chill out. If you ever get in that kind of drawdown, just let the market play out, calm down, and reanalyze the situation. You don't have any immediate concern because you're not putting any more lots into the market. So you as well can kind of relax, because 25% drawdown, that's where things get a little spooky, right? That's where people get uncomfortable. So that's why I put it there. It was like, okay, you're uncomfortable. Well, now you can at least have peace knowing it's not going to take any new trades. Just chill out for a little, analyze the market, don't get emotional, and relax. Peace and serenity, right? So that's why I designed that feature. It was just a big safety feature to help you help yourself.
Awesome. This is perfectly explained. I highly appreciate that. And yeah, my personal favorite feature, as I said earlier. So yeah, of course you can go on with other question. And I just noticed we have Dr. Arfad is experienced in this a lot, and he somewhere asked one question. Also, everything you're asking. Also, we have a lot of people with Silver Access Pass, so that they have one more tool. Higher asking that I am okay. Amount recommended for GearBox with to comfortably cover their initial monthly subscription. Okay, I think this gentleman is referring to an average profit returns. Each month. Of course, we don't guarantee future returns, but based on past. So what is the expectation they should have with their on an average returns with the GearBox tool? So how comfortably they can cover.
So I'll tell you this. I'm not going to tell you any percent. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up a bunch of my FX books that I have right here, and we're going to quickly scroll through them so that you can let data show you what is going on for current clients. Again, past profits are not indicative of future results, but let's just look at data, right? Instead of trusting me or a number that comes out of someone's mouth blindly, let's just take a look at some data. And I think that's the best way to go about it. So the first thing is, here's a sniper account, right? This is a little bit more of a moderate strategy. It's running 6 max pairs on sniper, but it's doing a little over 8% a month. You can see I've already withdrawn all my initial from it. And now it's just playing with profit. I will disclaim that I took out the profit before I lowered the lot size while I had some drawdown. So actually this higher drawdown probably wouldn't be so high had I just left the current equity in there, because the lot size was still not decreased when I did that. So that's actually what caused the higher one on this one when I really think about it. But if we go through, this is actually an aggressive user. Again, I would never do this, but this is highly aggressive. And this user has done over, about 300%. You can see he's deposited some more money in here recently. So his absolute gain's a lot less now, but he's up over 326% as he was growing, which is pretty crazy. Here's a customer doing 13% a month. They started with 726 euro. All right, so they started with less than $1,000, and they've ran through these market conditions, and they're up 92%. Looks like they actually deposited a little more money because their absolute gain's a little less. But nonetheless, you can see they even started with less than this then, right? They've deposited more. They probably started with a little less than 500 actually, and started using the GearBox strategy. Here's one of our customers, Amy. Amy's one of our actual amazing top leaders here. She's been doing over 14.5% a month, and on a small balance, even only got into 23% drawdown even in the last few weeks with all the volatility. and absolutely been crushing it. You can see profit factor looks good, 3,000 positive pips, average wins bigger than the average loss on sniper strategy, and having a great time. Here's another account you can see that's running on the swing strategy. So you can see swing obviously gets in trades a little sooner, which means you have a higher chance of getting in drawdown during a trend, especially during trending situations. But still nonetheless, 260 trades, higher profit factor. But as I told you, swing tends to have a higher average loss than average win. Sniper tends to have a higher average win than average loss. So that one entry actually makes all the difference in those two statistics on some of these FX books. You know, here's another GearBox that's doing 7% a month. You can see he's taking 50 trades. I would say this might be a sniper strategy because the profit factor looks good, little trades, 90% win rate. You know, so you can see data will tell you. This is a person using GearBox in a €100 account. I don't recommend this ever. I mean, if you want to do it and you just have money to play with, sure. But you can see that this user has actually done 81% on the €100 account in, you know, a little over a month and a half. Pretty cool. You know, cool to see that it can be done. This is a different strategy called skip a level that, you know, he chose his own pairs before we actually started teaching it. This is the 10K swing account I showed you guys. And again, I showed you it can take a loss and make it back. It's powerful. It's, you know, an important thing to be able to show people. Same thing here. This is a really aggressive account. This was swing running 6 max pairs trading. And you can see it was doing great. And it got some higher drawdown as well, running 6 max pairs and on swing settings. But it still took a loss and made most of it back already. And it's still, even after the loss, is doing over 7% a month on average. You know, but it was doing really good and it took some hits. We're down about 10% only, not even that bad with all the volatility from last month. I'll take that all day long. It's a powerful thing to see that the software can take the loss and make it back. It doesn't blow the account. It takes the loss. It makes it back. And I got to emphasize that a lot because I designed GearBox to be able to do that with the nature and how I designed it. This is another GearBox account, crushing it, you know, and you can just see tons and tons of examples of accounts. And, you know, I could scroll through for days of more and more, you know, accounts from people that are using the strategy. You know, you can see here, not 10% a month, 24% drawdown. You can see February, same thing, took some losses, already on the way to make it all back. So powerful stuff. But, you know, just important to show that as well. Here's another account doing 15% a month, started with €990. This is a larger account, $50,000 in it. It's up $10,000 profit. I mean, incredible. So, you know, just able to show, that's Neo. So just able to show, and while we're here, I mean, let's show Neo too while we're here. I know many of you are in Australia. Neo as well, you know, is a great product, works on the 1 in 30 leverage. For those of you who want to also use Neo, right? That will work on your 1 in 30 leverage. Oops, I didn't mean to stop sharing screen, hit the wrong button. But yeah, so I hope that answered some of the questions and gave you some answers on data, you know, and what people could expect possibly with GearBox. So let's keep going on.
And also on that, somebody asked while you're sharing a data, is it a bigger account also you have by any chance, any data on a bigger account? Because some might, you know.
I just showed a 50K account. Let me pull it back up.
50K?
Yeah, where did it go? Oops. That's the 50K. Where are you? No. I thought it was this way. Yep, here it is. So this is a 50K account. You can see he had 81,000 here. He's withdrawn 38,000. He's doing about 12% a month. And, you know, obviously that number's a little skewed because he made some big profit on a swing recently in February, right? Where other people were potentially having a bad day, GearBox was making a lot of people profit. There was a lot of people praising GearBox that week. and having a lot of success. But you can see he's only taken 76 trades and up 32%. So you can see on average, each trade was banking him about 0.5%, which is really powerful. Profit factor is over 16. He's caught 2,000 positive pips. His average wins 42. His average loss is 16. This tells me he's using sniper strategy as well. His amount of trades he's taken tells me that too. But he's made almost $11,000 profit since Christmas. So I'd tell you that's pretty cool.
Yeah, awesome. And on that, Mr. Sanjay Bajaj asking 50K account. He's more interested on 200K account.
Oh, absolutely. I split up a lot of my funds. I probably have 200,000 in GearBox accounts total, but I don't just have it in one account. Purely because I'm playing around with so many different strategies, and I have 60 GearBox accounts running myself, just to be honest with you. But so I have 200K in there. It's just in a lot of accounts.
Here is hi Tyler, you're right. So here is another question. Just somebody just texted me on the WhatsApp regarding the shifting from transform from Einstein to GearBox. If they don't have, because usually they remove the stop loss, and when they're gonna transfer their existing trades into the GearBox, and the GearBox is gonna put the stop loss again, right?
Yeah, so all you would do is just put a stop loss wherever you want to put it. So if you went into the VPS, for me, I don't believe in turning off stop losses. I personally run mine at 500, but if you wanted to just put a large stop loss here, basically like putting no, maybe go put 1,000 in there, put 2,000 in there. I don't really, it doesn't matter, but you would just go in the manager and put that, and then you would apply your strategy, and it would apply that stop loss there for you.
Wow.
I don't think that GearBox will apply. It might, but I don't know if it will actually apply a stop loss if you didn't have any. I know that it'll update the take profits if you change them, but I think the stop loss has always been a little bit different. The reason I say that is even in Einstein, if you change the stop loss mid-trade, like let's say you took your first trade at 250 pip stop loss and then you changed them to 500, the first trade would stay at 250 and only the next ones would be at 500.
The latest trade gonna be having a new stop.
I don't know if GearBox will actually apply them then if you have none.
Okay.
Because they were already taken, so they might stay. But if it, just to be safe, for the time being, while you have open trades, I would just go put your stop loss, at a higher distance, so it doesn't do anything if it does apply.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about so do customer needs to wait for the update, or it's okay? So now even from Monday they can shift, they can transfer their existing trades to the GearBox.
Yeah, if they have GearBox already, they can already switch it. If they miss the switch, they again are going to most likely have to wait till Friday. You could always attempt to put a support ticket in, but I think they're most likely going to tell you have to wait till Friday. But
so in the latest software, do we're gonna have like the same feature? Like you remember in Einstein, we used to have like hedge trend after 4.
Yeah, I just explained that's not a hedging feature. Again, that means double trades. I
okay.
hate that I got to explain this to you guys because this is what got you guys into trouble. That feature is not a hedging feature. It means double trades. So if you remember in Einstein, sometimes you'd see sell trend and then you'd see sell counter trend, and you'd end up in two sequences going the same way. That setting was added to be able to turn off those. So the trend levels before hedging, if you had max levels set at 8 and you had 2 there, that meant after level 2 was taken, it was going to allow a double sequence to be taken. Not a hedge, but a double sequence. It was wrong wording. It didn't actually mean hedging. It meant double trades. Now in GearBox, there are no double trades, and hedging does work the same way it did in Einstein, but there is no double trades.
But swing feature is also exactly the same like counter trade, isn't it?
Yeah, the swing, sniper, all of them are. The only difference is you're skipping the drawdown and catching the reversal. So really what you got to look at is, okay, if you can skip gear 0, 1, 2, and 3 and enter a gear 4, boom, right? That makes more sense. Or even a
Yeah.
5, that makes a lot of sense because you're skipping all the initial drawdown. So really, what I would consider GearBox to be is, yes, it has a counter trend strategy, but really what it's looking to do is more of be a reversal strategy. It's looking to catch reversals. It's not looking to counter trend. It's looking to catch reversals. And that's more of actually what I would consider GearBox strategy to be, is more of a reversal EA when using the precision modes.
In the new options, the yellow pairs you just mentioned on this slide. So yellow pair is gonna have like a little bit bigger gear as compared to the normal pairs.
No, the yellow pairs are the pairs that they're the worst performing pairs. Basically, what these are pairs that ideally you can run GearBox on if you want, but they have the highest drawdown possibilities and unpredictable trends often.
So on that, Tyler, I'm just going back and forth on the chat box right now, and Jyoti Pandya asked the similar question. Hey, Tyler, are you suggesting not adding the yellow pairs to the setup?
Correct. I'm suggesting not using the yellow pairs to set up. There's people that they might want to run them, and GearBox has the entries for them, but data has shown these pairs are the worst performing pairs that produce the highest drawdown for the least profit potential. The pairs in the green have produced the least drawdown in correlation with the profits they've also made. The pairs in white are in between the yellow and the green. They're not bad, they're not great. They make profit, right? But they don't produce high drawdown, and they don't produce amazing profit either, but they do get you some profit when they happen, right? So ideally, yes, I would not recommend running the ones in yellow for the time being. I'm not going to be running these on my my live accounts besides for the data accounts. I showed you guys the 1 pair data accounts I run. I'll continue to run these on those accounts so that I can show you data on them weekly. But for now, with the way the market's been, I would not suggest running them. I would currently eliminate them from a trading strategy based on current data and the way that they've been reacting. And overall, in general, I've been trading JPY pairs for 3 years with EAs, and I've always had a bad time. So I'm going to tell you that JPY pairs, me and JPY pairs aren't friends anymore. So EJ, I'm still friends with, but UJ, you got to go. AJ especially got to go. And recently NZD JPY and me, I wasn't liking it. And I haven't had too much of a bad time with GJ, but data still says GJ is just not a good performing pair for GearBox. And why is this? Because the JPY pairs don't tend to respect fundamentals when you study them. And what I mean by fundamentals is when you're looking for, are they going to reverse? They tend to just not follow the fundamentals. You think it's going to reverse and it just doesn't. Where a lot of the other pairs are much more predictable, if that makes sense. So that's my answer on those yellow pairs right now. They're like the troublesome stepchild, right? That's what the yellow pairs are for me.
Awesome. And on the same also, Tyler, Jyoti Pandya once again asking, so should we also remove USD JPY for those on Einstein? I'm not sure.
Well, if you have active drawdown on it, no, because you need GearBox to continue to manage it. But what you can do, this is a cool feature I want to cover actually real quick. Let's say in my case here, I have USD JPY open, I believe I do. I can go ahead and hit this button. So once it gets me, it will continue to take new trades as it needs to. But once it gets me out of USD JPY, it won't even continue to trade it. I can just go close it. It won't even risk entering another trade. So you're pausing new trends. So a trend is a sequence. So it'll continue the current sequence that's already open, but it won't ever open another trade on UJ after that. So you could just go ahead and do that, and it'll continue to manage it. And then once you close it, you can just close the pair.
Awesome. And then another gentleman, Mr. Yogesh Grover, is asking, can we use a different strategy of a different pairs, using at once? So let's say sniper,
yes, you have to modify them individually, meaning you would want to decide, okay, the majority of the pairs you're running are they going to be sniper or swing or super, and apply that. And then the ones you want to custom change, go change them individually. Because there's no way to use the manager to apply multiple strategies to multiple pairs, right? But you can apply, let's say majority of them are going to be on sniper, but there's a few pairs that you said, oh, I want to run them on swing. I'm okay with them getting into trade sooner. You would just go decrease your setting here. So like, let's say right now we're on sniper and you said on CHF JPY, you know what? I want to go ahead and run swing. You would just decrease the numbers by 1. Or if you wanted to bump them up, you'd increase the numbers by 1, right? And that's all you would do in that situation.
And I've got Mr. Ashwini Sharma asking, with the Einstein, some of the accounts are over 50% drawdown, unfortunately.
Yep.
Is it recommendable to switch to GearBox because it has got 25% equity protection? What is the suggestion on that? We just want to know.
So what you could do is you can switch to GearBox, and GearBox will take ghost trades while you're in balance protection mode. So what this means is once you get out of those trades, the next sniper trade that already exists, GearBox is going to be ready to take it. Now you can also increase if for some reason you wanted GearBox to continue to be able to take new trades as necessary. You could also increase your balance protection so that it could take a new trade. So you have either option. You could have it just manage your existing trades and also start taking ghost trades to find the next setups for once those trades complete. Or you could go ahead and simply, increase your balance protection if you wanted to be able to have it take more trades.
Awesome. And Kian asking, will NEO be able to continue manage Einstein open trades like GBP? I guess this is more of a GearBox call with the developer himself, Mr.
NEO will not be able to, based on the fact that GearBox came from the base algorithm of the similar strategy in Einstein and Alexander. It's able to naturally pick that up and replicate it. Unfortunately, NEO will not be able to. If you want to get onto NEO, you're going to want to make sure that you're getting out of any current open trades so that you can switch to NEO, especially if you're using an Australian broker that only has 1 in 30 leverage. Again, NEO is the only product that will work on those brokers once you get out of these current trades. So that's, the key there. And if you do want to continue to be able to use any products like GearBox or Stratamus coming out soon, then again, you're going to want to make sure that you have a higher leverage offshore broker that will allow you the leverage you need.
Awesome, fantastic. And once again, people are asking, I know you have covered a lot. If I know Susan is going to organize a recording of this call as well, I'll let Susan answer because a lot of questions or a lot of while you're explaining, you have answered what people have asked. Probably they jumped late or they missed your information, but a recording will be available. But also, moving on, once again, common question everybody's asking, the leverage, will GearBox work on 1:30? And that's what my reference was, you have answered a few times.
No, it will not work on 1 in 30 leverage. If you want to use GearBox, you're going to want to get with a different offshore broker that will accept Australian citizens. You're going to want to make sure they're an A-book broker. There's plenty of great brokers out there. I can't recommend any to you, but I'll tell you, I have a few great ones I love and I use, and I'd recommend you find the same so that you can have higher leverage and continue to be able to use many of our other products as they come out that unfortunately won't be supported by those lower leverage situations.
Awesome. And then once again, Mr. Shafi Hassan, a great leader, he's asking, when can I see my first trade on GearBox if I set up this week, like today? So when can you expect?
I can't guarantee you when you'll see your first trade. That's based on the market movement, the pairs you're running. There's a lot of variables to that situation in question. But what I can tell you is there might be some weeks that you don't get a trade at all. There might be other weeks where you hit it out of the park and you go, how did I make so much money this week? And that's kind of GearBox. And what I'll tell you, looking at historical data, is GearBox tends to actually perform best in the second half of the month. When I've been looking at a lot of data, the first half it tends to get into trades, but by the second half is where it tends to make a lot of its profit. So it's important that you look at GearBox on a month-to-month basis. It's more of a long-term strategy. As I mentioned, there might be a week you get no trades, and then the next week you make 3, 4, 5, 6%, right? I've seen some crazy numbers from people's accounts sometimes, but then the next week you might not get a trade at all. So you just have to understand, again, GearBox trades like an institutional hedge fund manager. And what I mean by that is the best traders know when not to be in the market. They don't trade to trade, they trade because there's a trade. And that's what GearBox does when using precision modes. It trades because there's a trade and because it makes sense.
Awesome. Now, yes, I guess almost once again, Mr. Rishabh asking just to confirm, clarify him that only way to switch from Einstein to GearBox is via submitting a support ticket. Is it like people who miss that cut?
And I don't even know if that'll work. I'm just saying that if there was any way to possibly do it, that's the only way I would attempt to try. But from my understanding, there's a switch on Friday and it's automated, and if you miss it, you miss it. But again, yeah, you never know unless you ask, right? So.
Yeah, no, fantastic. Because I understand the concern, because the timing is an issue for us Cash-20 situation, because the regulator here in Australia are changing leverage from 1:400. It's a great effort you putting in, the team putting behind to move people and migrate them from Einstein to GearBox. But the problem, they are confused themselves that, oh yeah, it will happen, but what will happen that when the regulators change the leverage from 1:400 to 1:30? So yeah, a bit of situation here.
And maybe for Australians, they might make a special case. The best thing I can say is put a support ticket in, and I'll go escalate and see, hey, these Australians, they got 1:30 leverage coming up. They're trying to switch I'll go put in a case. But again, there's no promises from me. There's a switch, there's a window, there's a reason we have everything set up the way it is. But again, you never know what the answer is to a question unless you ask. So my best answer for you is put in a support ticket if you want to try and switch and plead mercy, right? So that's my best option and answer for you.
Fantastic, awesome. I've jumped on a Q&A platform and I can see Parita Liu are asking, how about the pair outside your charts? Some of the pairs were not in your chart, in case you noticed. Is there a way we can add that chart? Does it work, or just whatever recommended on your chart on your Excel sheet?
If you don't see a pair here, the only other 3 pairs that I would say somebody might be able to run that's not on here is Euro GBP, Euro NZD, and GBP CHF. So if it was one of those 3 pairs, then the answer is yes. If it was not one of those 3 pairs, the answer is absolutely not in the current moment.
Awesome. I'm back on a Q&A session, and I think you've answered a few times that people are still want to confirm the charts should be on a daily, not a H1, H4, because they are a little aggressive side.
Riskier side, but they can hedge more as well. So it's all about how you want to play. Again, what you have to understand is the daily time frame is going to be looking at the larger move that's going to happen in the market, meaning it's going to go for what typically it believes is the most precise and the most accurate direction that is going to happen over a longer period of time. Where the 4-hour and the 1-hour, it's looking at a smaller time frame. So it's making decisions based on smaller candles and smaller time frames, meaning that there's times where it's going to play both sides of the market because it's unsure which way it's going to go, which can play in your favor, but also could play against you at the same time. So far, people have been seeing great results with it. But again, the most conservative and the most accurate is always going to be the daily time frame. Now, you can use 4-hour and you can use 1-hour. If you're looking to see more, as people call it, hedging, it playing both sides of the market in some situations, and that's what you could do. But again, most people tend to use the daily time frame.
Awesome. I'm just going back and forth on a Q&A. You can also pick up a question, because I see similar questions are here because people try to, I guess, post on both platforms. And somebody has asked.
Great question. Does GearBox allow manual trades in the account like Einstein? Previously, the answer was no. Actually, as of this update, Yes, it does. Now, I'm going to tell you the same thing I tell everyone. I would never manually trade on the same account as an EA. It's best to have a separate account to take manual trades on. It's the best thing possible. I'm going to give you an example. The other day, I started manually trading on an EA account. It wasn't even a GearBox account, but I started manually trading with another EA I'm playing with. And, I found myself in a risky time because I just kept stacking orders, doing what I love to do sometimes. And, I just said, screw it all and took the loss. And the reason I tell you that, that wouldn't have happened had I just been trading on a separate account. So I tell everybody, you should never mix manual trades with EA trading account. Let the EA trading account be for the EA trading and have a separate account for manual trades you want to take based on EA trades, right? It's a safer strategy, and it's going to be more in your best interests long-term to have two separate accounts for that.
Awesome.
What leverage level does GearBox work best? I'm going to tell you right now, GearBox can work on 1 in 200 leverage. It could work on 1 in 100 leverage. It's best on 1 in 500 leverage, obviously, but it can work on 1 in 100 and it can work in 1 in 200. Now, anything less than that, you're really like, I'll put it to you this way. I know of one customer using GearBox on 1 in 30 leverage, but he has $1 million. All right. So, when you have that kind of equity, you're okay with making 2% in a month. You don't need to run the normal risk settings. You can be really conservative. And it's not going to really work on less than 1 in 100 unless you have, big capital. That would be what I would tell you there. Let me keep reading through the comments here.
I just noticed one more also question. Yes, of course, I know you're going through as well. When do we start transition from Einstein to GearBox? Paritha asking this question.
The transitions as soon as you're ready, right? It's the transitions now. Obviously you have to wait till Friday to switch your tool, but the time is now, right? The time to start preparing to switch to GearBox is now. The transition is now, and for those of you who are wanting to use GearBox, it's going to be exciting to have you a part of the GearBox family. And we have a lot of calls just like this, so you can learn from myself and all the amazing other people in our community, so that you can continue to have the best results with the product. The great thing
here is another technical question regarding this, Tyler. Let's suppose if someone got already 3 pairs on Einstein, and if they are going to search GearBox, so technically, because if there is maximum 3 pairs on Einstein, so they need to add 4, 5, 6, then it's gonna appear on new pairs, isn't it? Otherwise,
only if they want to take trades on new pairs, otherwise GearBox will continue to manage their current trades. And once they get out of a trade, GearBox will already have other entries lined up in a queue on next available trades.
Yeah.
So again, depending on somebody's drawdown, yes, if they wanted to allow GearBox to get into its own trade, they could maybe go 4 max pairs, right?
Yeah.
See another trade. But if somebody's in a lot of drawdown, I would encourage that they don't do that, and they wean their way out, right? From their Einstein experience.
It makes sense.
Yeah. But
makes sense.
But if you're transitioning and you don't have a lot of drawdown and you're ready to see GearBox take a trade and operate on the sniper strategy or the swing or super sniper, then yes, I would at that time, maybe just go from 3 to 4 so that you can get into a trade.
Makes sense.
So,
yes, Bobby bhai.
Yes, Tyler, we are appreciating every second you're spending here. And of course, with Susan, with a short notice coming up with Flyer and, getting prepared and on the call as well right now. So now a lot of questions. My concern is because, it will be a recording, it will be a few hours, and some of the basic question or some of the basic understanding within their silver passes and how does it work. I may also hold down one more Zoom call with a mutual time agreed with all the leaders after this call to answer a lot of basic queries where people we have done time and again. And of course, I'm looking into all those and making my list of the questions which can be answered, because when people go back into the recording, they want to make sure, they're spending their quality time to again recollect all the information and make notes again if they missed it. So yeah, you can also have a look if you feel like some of the questions which are basic related to the process or few other things. I can take that question also later after this call. It's your call. Have a little glimpse on because I know a lot of our common question, as Mr. Shivash asked, can GearBox work on 1:30? We talked about it already. And Shafi Hassan ZAR pairs, I guess it's South African pairs on GearBox. I think it's major and minor we pick up. You can take that question if you want. From Shafi Hassan, ZAR pairs can work on GearBox.
No, I have no data on them, so I wouldn't use them.
Awesome. And yeah, like Mr. Punit Singh asking, how do I choose strategy? Of course, on the GearBox Manager, as you explained earlier. And if I'm setting, where do I find strategy sniper? It's on the GearBox Manager. So I may also do, a Zoom call again. I will set up my own account on GearBox and probably what so far we've done last week. And I'll open up all the basic questions. Some people who have missed it until the video comes. But yeah, have a look to question, and anything important we definitely should address here or answer them. I think pretty much it's done, but just you make sure you double confirm. And or I may
through and see
Yeah.
if there's anything. You know, I just see a lot of people still asking how do they switch to GearBox from Einstein if they're in drawdown. And remember, all you have to do is apply GearBox to the charts as normal, install it, use the manager to apply a strategy, and any current open trades you have, as long as GearBox is installed on that currency pair on the chart, it will pick up those trades and continue to manage them. So yes, you can switch to GearBox if you're in Einstein trades, and it will pick up the trades, continue to manage them. I see some people saying, I still don't understand GearBox. I want to be comfortable. All you need to understand is GearBox has the base strategy you're currently used to using. Just it's skipping the drawdown that you would be in and entering the more highly profitable trades using that same strategy. It's just skipping them. And how is that happening? It's called a ghost server. So what it does is it trades behind the scenes in a ghost server. So if I was to go look at a currency pair here, you can see GBP CAD has a buy gear 4 open. All right. But you don't see any trade open on my account for GBP CAD. It's trading behind the scenes, right? So you're seeing it trade behind the scenes. You can see it's modifying a trade, a level 3 trade on AUD JPY, but AUD JPY is not open on my account. So behind the scenes, GearBox is using the same strategy you're used to, and it's just trading. But then when it's getting to that point where you would typically be in higher drawdown using your current strategy, GearBox is taking its trade. So what I love to tell people is where most strategies fail, GearBox thrives, because it's really just waiting to capture these movements. And typically when something hits some of these levels on a counter trend strategy, you're already in some good drawdown. Where here, you're just getting into the trade. So just to recover that, you can all switch to GearBox right away. It will manage your current existing trades. You just set GearBox up as normal, and it will pick up any existing trades that you do have. I'm going to continue reading through. Using can you please show us accounts? Very small. Yeah, I see somebody was asking about 200K account. As I mentioned, unfortunately, all my money split between a lot of accounts because I tried lots of different strategies and risk things. I see another question. Will Neo be able to continue to manage Einstein open trades like GearBox? No, it does not currently. I wish it could. That would be super awesome for you Australians. I wish there was a way for it to do that. It would literally be like the coolest thing ever. Reading through, I think that's think that's really it. I don't see too much here.
I think pretty much all is covered, and
yeah, I think we've covered almost all of it. I see some questions I can't answer yet, so I won't answer that one.
yeah, no, awesome. As I mentioned, of course, not being a financial advisor or anything, disclaimer, not to recommend anything to anybody, but I will be setting up my own account just to show what I am doing, and based off the learning and education I had. And if any questions they have, I may answer based on my understanding, not to recommend, of course. So I'll be doing, and pretty much all is done. Is it okay that if some question comes and they are to be answered by you, and I can flick those questions to you, we are email or text, or we call each other something for your next call, because people are excited now. It has been a lot covered here, and of course the recordings are also going to be available soon. So yeah, so for the next time, some of the questions people have, and I can send it to you across, and when you come next, you can answer those questions. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Oh, fantastic. No, thank you so much, Tyler, taking your time out. I know it was so short notice. And not only that, then you agreed with a great idea. Hey, how about we do 4 calls, not one, for the Australian team, and give them a setting up, or, give them an environment, how best this product can work, and setting up them for a winning environment. And of course, Dr. Arfat took that always great support. Anytime it's 2 a.m., I guess, at his place in UK. And some of the people are from Canada. And Susan, of course, we can't thank you enough for just normal words, that how in short time, middle of night, when Tyler was texting you, hey, how can we get the flyers out and set this a link so people can have a recording. So Susan, thank you so much. Always, your flyers are always fantastic. And we personally would like to, from Australia, to thank you. I highly appreciate everything you guys doing, and including the corporate team, everybody. And Tyler, this is highly precious, valuable call for us. We so much appreciate. So thank you once again, everybody, for jumping on this call. I hope that added value to you all. And I will let Susan talk about whether the recording will be available and when can people expect that. No pressure, of course, but if you can, Susan, let us know if there is a recording going on and when that can be available. I know it's going to be a 2 hours recording at least. But Susan, the call is to you. Thank you. She's muted, I guess.
Or might have stepped away, but we're going to get the recording out as soon as possible. So you guys can look forward to the recording. It'll be posted in public channel, the public GearBox channel, that is. And we'll make sure that all your leaders forward it to you. If you're not inside the GearBox announcements channel or the GearBox traders chat, go ahead and get inside those channels. I'm going to message it to Bobby and Dr. Arfat, both links. So Dr. Arfat will get the link, Bobby will get the link, and they will forward you guys the link to the traders chat and the announcements chat, so that you guys can get plugged in with the entire community of GearBox traders. And the best part about this is you guys aren't going to feel like you're in the dark, right? You're going to be engaged with an entire community of people trading with GearBox that are all doing different things. So you can ask these questions, right? Because some of you are starting to have your own ideas. I see it in the comments, and it's going to be exciting for you to just become a part of the community and get super engaged. And I'm excited to work with you all and have you here using this product, as well as using more of our amazing products we have here, such as Neo, Stratum is soon to launch, Variable, and even for you manual traders, Arrow. We have amazing products here in Auvoria Prime, and I look forward to you exploring many of the other amazing diversification options that we have. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for spending 2 hours with me. And Bobby, thank you. And Dr. Arfat, thank you as well. And, let's go take over the world.
Thank you very much, Tyler. Thank you very much, Susan. And you guys done fantastic work for us. And everyone's so excited, as just Mr. Bobby just mentioned. And we can't wait to see you again and again to having these kind of sessions. Thank you very much once again.
Of course. Yes, to add to Dr. Arfat, of course, people are excited because this weekend, Mr. Tyler McKechnie, the developer of GearBox, has just changed some gears for Australia. It has been a major paradigm shift in our brain now to see more of great vision with the product he has got to offer. He's worked hard to make this amazing, unbelievable product. And I'm sure people are gonna go super duper excited when they, over the time, see the results and the drawdowns are so less and whatnot. So this is a major paradigm shift for all of us by shifting the gears and then moving into the GearBox. So we so much appreciate everything you're doing. Not only that, and future commitment. And I see Jyoti also posted a link for the chat and a Telegram link. So awesome, great support. And thank you once again, corporate. Thank you once again, Susan, Tyler, and everybody on the call. So that concludes our call. Everybody have a fantastic, productive Sunday now. Let's switch on to GearBox. And if you need any help, please do send me the question and I may be able to also answer. Like basic, somebody asked, can GearBox trade on weekends? So it's a basic question. Forex is open on Monday, 24/5, so 5 days. It doesn't trade on weekend. That's a basic. We always play the slides for you guys. So with that, everybody, thank you so much. The recording will be available. And for Canada, US, UK, have a great night. I know it's pretty early morning, 2 a.m. for Mr. Dr. Arafat here and the UK team. And people are from all over the place. They all are coming from Asia, Europe, everybody's on the call. So thank you so much, everybody. We value your time and hope we added the value to your life with this call. But thank you so much, everybody. Have a happy trading. Have a great results. Thank you once again. This is Bobby Shalen signing off from Sydney, Australia. And over to Tyler to wrap up this call. Thank you so much.
That's it, folks. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you.